I struggled so much for so many years because of things that I thought were true that really weren't, right? When someone says something enough times, that's what you believe. And it really culminated with in 2015, did something completely out of my comfort zone, which was climb Mount Kilimanjaro. But it was exactly what I needed. That experience really helped me realize what I was capable of and really helped me understand that I don't need to worry about what anybody else is thinking. I do not need to compare myself to other people.
Buckle up for a new episode of the Be.She podcast, the show where we have real and raw conversations to inspire and empower you to be seen and heard so you can create balance and everything you want in your life and business. I'm your host, Heidi Schock, and I'm excited to walk alongside of you on this journey of being seen, heard, and empowered. Welcome to the Be.She podcast. Be seen, be heard, be empowered. I'm your host, Heidi Schock, and I am super excited to be here today, especially with my guest, who I'm going to introduce you to in a moment. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We're glad you're here. This podcast is for women. It's a passion project. This is my baby. You're here to be empowered, to be seen and heard. So welcome. We're really excited to have you part of our community now. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to my special guest, Simone Knego. So welcome, Simone, to the Be.She podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to dive in with you because you have a lot of exciting things coming up. So I can't wait to talk to you about that. But I'm going to, real quick, before we dive into that, I'm just going to give everybody a little introduction into your background. So Simone Knego is an international speaker, award-winning author, and confidence coach dedicated to empowering women to overcome self-doubt and live purpose-driven lives. As the best-selling author of The Extraordinary UnOrdinary You, Simone extends her mission through her globally ranked podcast, her Unshakeable Confidence, offering inspiration and insights to a worldwide audience. Her transformative work, including the R.E.A.L method, provides a straightforward framework for cultivating genuine self-assurance. Her upcoming book, R.E.A.L Confidence, a simple guide to go from unsure to unshakable, launches in February. This is super exciting. Offering women practical tools to foster authentic confidence. So Simone, thank you for being here. With everything you do, writing your book, working with people with the R.E.A.L method, is this a journey that you've moved through yourself and now support others with? Or is this something that you just had a passion on, learned about it, went to school, and now you have your business?
This is definitely something that I went through myself, and really the R.E.A.L method came out of my journey. And it started with an abusive boyfriend in high school. And it really, that I struggled so much for so many years because of things that I thought were true that really weren't, right? When someone says something enough times, that's what you believe. And it really culminated with in 2015, I did something completely out of my comfort zone, which was climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm not a climber. I live in Florida. I have 16 steps in my house. But but it was exactly what I needed. I'm not saying go climb a mountain, but I needed to get out of my comfort zone. And that experience really helped me realize what I was capable of and really helped me understand that I don't need to worry about what anybody else is thinking. I do not need to compare myself to other people. And that was really the beginning of, okay, let me look back on how I got from point A to point B. What was the journey and how did I get there? And that's how the R.E.A.L method came about.
I love that. And thank you for sharing some of your journey there. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she's not dating. She has no interest, and I'm okay with that right now.
Yeah.
Being a young teenager in an abusive relationship, like, women go through abuse and it's traumatic. At that age, our brain is still forming. So it's just, I can't even imagine what you needed to move through in order to, I don't want to say get over, I don't know if that's the right words, but process and heal from that experience. What inspired you to climb Kilimanjaro?
Yeah. So actually, a friend of ours had climbed it the previous year with the Livestrong Foundation, and they were putting together another team. And they called my husband and said, "Are you interested?" And of course, the way I tell the story is his response was one, two, three, no, thank you. Call Simone. And they did call me, and I said yes. And I really think I needed it. I think that was such a big part behind it. Like, that's part number one. But also, I had been the yes girl for so long, right? I did not know how to set boundaries. I didn't ever want to disappoint anybody. So I was constantly saying yes to everything that was asked of me. It didn't matter that I had 6 kids. I still, anytime someone needed something, I'm like, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Instead of saying, you know what, that is not going to fill my cup. I don't need that. So it's really kind of a two-tiered answer where I knew that I needed to get out of my comfort zone. And I also didn't want to. I hate that feeling of rejection. So I said yes. And then I looked at what I had to do and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?"
I'm a yes person too, or I'm a recovering,
Me too.
I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm a recovering people pleaser. And I found myself lately, even literally yesterday, I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I get to stop saying yes. I get to start being able to use the word no and setting my boundaries. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of it. It's really just protecting your, I would say, your nervous system, because when we're saying yes so much, that just and I learned if I say yes to something and I start feeling anxious, or my nervous system starts like giving me those little signals, then I need to step back and go, you know what? Finding ways to get out of that yes, and with allowing the other person to understand why. And I love that you said yes to that though. There's certain things that sometimes the power of yes and just saying yes
Hmm.
is good. But I think we also need to listen to ourselves and going, okay, I just said yes to this. Like you said, is this going to fill my cup? Kilimanjaro was going to fill your cup. You were going to be, because it was you stepping out of your comfort zone. But sometimes we can overschedule our calendar by saying yes, and then we're just exhausted, and our cup is not only not full, it's not even half full, it's fully depleted.
Yeah. And when you start saying no to things, you leave space for the yeses that you really want. And so I did say yes to this one, but I really deep down knew, like my intuition said, like, you have to do this. And it was life changing for me. And I wouldn't say, okay, yes, I made it to the summit and that was amazing. But it was the action behind it, right? The belief in myself, the change in my mindset instead of constantly criticizing myself, really building myself up, because our words are so powerful, and what we say to ourselves, like, our words become our reality. So if we're constantly telling ourselves that we're not capable, that we can't do something, that's what we believe, that's what we where we end up. So it's so important that we talk to ourselves like we would our best friend, because we sure wouldn't say mean things to our best friend, but we should
Mm,
be our best friend, but we constantly say mean things to ourselves.
absolutely. We say the worst things to ourselves that we would never in a million years say to another human, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the real method. What is it?
So it's the method that I created to really help women build confidence from the inside out. One of the things I realized over time was so many of the issues I had boiled down to the fact that I did not feel confident. I was pretending. I was performing confidence instead of actually having confidence. So I put up this facade saying that, oh, I'm so strong, and I was falling apart inside. So the real method stands for respect yourself, embrace your failures, ask yourself what you want, and live without limits. And respect is, to me, it is absolutely the starting point, and to me, the most important piece, because, like, as a child, I remember being taught to respect my elders, my peers, but never once do I remember being taught that the most important person to respect is myself. And it is. The most important person to respect is yourself, because if you don't respect yourself, how do you expect other people to? We talk a lot about demanding respect, but it's really about demonstrating it to ourselves. So setting those boundaries so that people don't walk all over us, or saying the no's, those kinds of things, that, and taking time for self-care. Like, that's all about respecting yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you talk about what it looks like for women to work with you? Who is the real method for specifically?
Yeah, so it's for real. I've really focused on high achieving women who when you look at the paper, they look amazing, but inside they're really struggling. And they don't want to talk about that they're struggling because it's a hard thing to do, right? So it's like, why are they struggling, right? Because they are saying yes to all of these things and they're really not taking time for themselves. So women, mostly working moms, is who I work with, but some of the women are not moms, but that really are putting it all out there, but still feel bad, still feel like they're not doing enough. And it's that realization of that you are more than enough.
So yeah, because the high achieving women, we're juggling a lot of hats,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if we let anyone see that we need support in some way or we're struggling in an area, then we feel weak.
Mm-hmm.
So I can imagine that the women that you work with don't want to talk about it because they then it shows weakness, and they can't show weakness because they're successful and powerful,
Right.
and they can't be seen otherwise. Otherwise, that they their job, their career, whatever they're moving in, might people might start thinking less of them. It's a scary place to be, right?
Yeah. But vulnerability actually makes you more powerful, right? The
Exactly.
ability to really show up as yourself instead of pretending to be something that you're not, that adds a whole different dimension of power and a whole different dimension of respect from other people.
And that's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for women who are go-getters and juggling all the things and high achieving. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about your book. You have two. One's coming out in February,
Hmm.
but can you share with us your first book, The Extraordinary Unordinary You? What's that? What's the book about?
So that book came out in 2020. It was perfect timing, right? That book is all about realizing what you're capable of and recognizing that the little things you do every day matter. So we adopted our youngest three children, stories about their adoptions, climbing Kilimanjaro, but it's really a self-help book. It's really having women take a step back and say, "Oh, wait, I can do this," right? I've seen other people do it. Why not me? So that was behind that book. And what was interesting with that book is that I got a great response to it. And then I got the question, tell me exactly what to do. I want to follow exactly what you did so I can move forward. And so I thought, okay, well, that's in book two. So, book two, Real Confidence, a simple guide to go from unsure to unshakable, which comes out February 17th, is all my real method. So, it's broken down into four subsections: respect yourself, embrace your failures, ask yourself what you want, live without limits. And in those, there's exercises and case studies and work to do and frameworks to really help you build confidence from the inside out.
Mm. And when that, so your second book's coming out in February. Let's talk about where you can get the first book,
Yeah.
because the first book is definitely it's amazing. I love that you're leaning into if she can, I can,
Hmm.
right? And inspiring women and empowering them that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve. If I can do this, or if she can do this, so can you. So where can they get that?
Yeah, you can get the first book anywhere online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and the second book is available for pre-order now also anywhere online and will be in bookstores starting in February. So yeah, it's super exciting. I never thought I would write a book, two books. I mean, I started off my career as an accountant. So this is inspiration for everyone out there to say it's okay to change your mind, right? And find the thing that really fills your cup, find the thing that you're really passionate about, because that's the way you want to move forward in the world.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you're making, because I think that the thought of pivoting, especially for someone that, and maybe for a lot of the women that you work with, we've done something for so long, and now to think I'm not really happy doing this, but it's making me good money. I can take care of my family. I now have responsibilities that I need to be able to uphold, but this really doesn't fill my cup. It doesn't make me happy. I don't want to be doing this anymore, and I want to take that leap. It's very, very scary. So you started off as an accountant, as you just shared, Simone. What made you take the leap? Like, was that scary for you? Or was it just something like you knew you're like, I got to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime I mean, change is always scary, but I think if you approach it in smaller steps, right? Not just I'm quitting my job tomorrow and maybe I'll figure out what I'm doing. start something on the side. Like you see all kinds of people with side hustles. You can make money doing anything these days, really. I mean, it's crazy to think about the idea of influencers and how much money they make. So it's taking those steps to say, okay, where's my comfort level? And looking at, yes, I want to move into this. Maybe I'll start it on a part-time basis. Maybe I'll start it on a volunteer basis and then like find your footing and then jump all in. Like for me, it's really taking that action and jumping in. So yes, it was scary, but it was, I mean, definitely the right decision for me.
Yeah. So moving into the entrepreneur space, what was your biggest challenge or challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome those?
So I would say in general, the idea that if you build it, they will come, right? I think that we talked about this before we started recording, but there's a lot of competition in every market. And so you really have to be able to use your network. And that's something that I was really bad at doing at first, asking for help, because help means weakness, right? And it's not true at all, right? When people want to help, right? And the worst that they can say is no. But if you don't ask, the answer, you will never know. You'll never know the answer. So for me, it was so important to understand that and building those relationships that you can lean on later. And that was a big learning experience for me.
Yeah. What are some ways for somebody thinking that they want to start something, but they don't feel like they have a network? What are some ways that they can get out there and start building that or
Yeah.
creating
Yeah, I mean, there's so many women's groups, women's organizations in town that I would say where I live, there's at least 10 that I see on a regular basis. I don't go to all of them because you could spend your whole life just going to the meetings and stuff. But in all of these organizations, the women want to support you. They want to help. And
that?
so I think that's a great way to start is just showing up and introducing yourself and talk about who you are. And then it grows from there. And that's what I've really found. And it's funny, even with my friend groups, they're like, why don't you ever call and ask for help? I'm like, I'm asking for help now. Got to learn how to do it.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point you brought up about asking for help. When you're not when you're an entrepreneur, it's easy to be sucked in, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur getting started. It's easily to get sucked in your own little bubble, and it can become very lonely. So it's really important as an entrepreneur, nobody tells you this, that you make priority out of connecting outside of your just little bubble. Because if you're not, it's going to be one short-lived into a really hard space to be in. I know from experience because I hit burnout, and in my business now, even though it's been 8 years and I've done the pivot a couple of times, it still there comes moments where I'm like, okay, you've been doing this. Oh, even though I have a business partner and we have a team, I'm still feel lonely. And I'm like, I need to get out of my space
Hmm.
in order to, and having those local communities is fantastic because you're surrounding yourself in person with like-minded individuals. There's great groups online. And yes, we were building businesses and online, the internet, the online space is a great place to be promoting and marketing yourself because you're opening yourself up to so much more, so many more people, whether or businesses if you're working B2B. But having that local connection is really, really key too, and something that I did not do. And I wish had I done that from the beginning, my business would look so much different now. And I probably would have avoided those burnout moments that I was having. As far as you moving through the challenges that you faced, did you have to move through any fear? Asking for help was a big thing that was stepping out of your comfort zone that you shared. And I think that's a really key, important gold nugget for our listeners to take away. But is there any fears that you had to come? Does fears just still show up in your business or
Mm.
for you? Or is this something that like you've tackled and it's just like, I'm good, especially when you're like moving to the next level in your growth, like your second book. You never thought you'd write one book, let alone
Right.
two. Maybe there's a third on the horizon. We don't know. So is there still fear that pops up for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm human. So I think that we all have that voice inside our head that likes to tell us that we're not enough or, oh my gosh, you're going to fail, right? Like, what are you thinking? I call it the what if whisperer. And I think that I've, it's always there. Like, you're always going to have these questions that come into your head thinking if you're enough, if you're going to do this. And it's really about understanding that you have control. Like, you can you can decide what you do with those thoughts. I have my little mindset hack. I call it Control Alt Delete. Back in the day, how we would unfreeze our computers, but sometimes our minds freeze too. So it's really about, so control is about awareness, right? When you have these thoughts that come into your head, are they real? Are they valid, right? Or is it the story that you're telling yourself? Is it the negative story that you're telling yourself? Because you do have control of what you do with those thoughts, right? You can say, I'm not going to listen to you. Alt is about alternative. Tell yourself a better story instead of, what if I fail? How about when I succeed? Or I can't? Yes, you can. And finally, delete. Delete the habits and beliefs that don't serve you. Delete the comparison game. Delete the belief that you're not enough. Delete the apology. And when you, every time, it gets easier over time, but every time you have those negative thoughts come in and you start thinking in this little cycle, it really helps you reframe and realize what you're capable of.
Yeah, I love that you have this go-to
Yeah.
process that you use. So that's great for you listeners. Like create your own go-to process. Maybe it is the Control Alt Delete. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
So I think it's fantastic. Maybe utilize that, or if that, or find one that works for you, that resonates for you. If it needs to be different, 3, 2, saying where the numbers backwards, but whatever gets you out of that and reframes what you're moving through in the moment. And it can happen super, super fast. And like Simone said, the more you do it, the faster it happens for you. So the first
Hmm.
time may take a little while. Maybe you need to say Control Alt Delete 7 to 10 times before you move through that and before you create that shift. But the next time it'll be 9, the next time it might be 7, the next time maybe 5, until you get to that. You just have to say it once and you're moving on. And those are just reminders to you. Like our fear is something that is brought in, like there's things that trigger us, or the fear is brought in to protect us, but not everything we need to be protected from. And it's important to realize what we need to be protected from to stay safe, and what's really just something that we can easily go Control Alt Delete to move through. That's old patterns or old beliefs that we still need to move through. You have 6 children, Simone, just shared.
Yes, I
So
do.
wow, wow, I have 2, and I'm like, I want to just like, wow, kudos to you. How do you juggle all of this? Your book writing, your business, your family, your children, and your husband. Like, how do you hold it all together and move through it with ease and grace?
Oh, some days not well. I mean, it's real life. So I don't believe in balance. I believe in priorities. And there's days where business will take a higher priority to home life. And in the moment, it feels a little crappy, but kind of that's real life. And so my youngest is a senior in high school, so we could potentially be empty nesters next year. But I always believed that it was important for my kids to see me go and do. And so they could look at themselves and say, "Oh, wow, if mom can do that, I can do that too." Right? And so that's why I've always been a big believer in, once I got over my, here's what I'm struggling with, really stretching myself so that when, for example, when I climbed Kilimanjaro, I had people say, "Oh, don't you think it's selfish to leave your kids and your family behind while you go climb a mountain?" I said, "No, self-care is never selfish." And what a great example for my kids to see that, hey, if you set a goal and put in the work, you can accomplish it. So there are days that are not easy, but I have a really supportive family and a really supportive husband. We've been married 32 years, and it's all about taking action.
Yeah. It's interesting that people said that to you,
Mm.
because and I'm glad you shared that with us, because I want, that's another big piece of really prioritizing yourself, is letting go of those outside voices, right? Not letting other opinions matter, like change your opinion of yourself or change the goal that you want to achieve. And also communication with your family, letting your family know, like, hey, like that is a huge piece of creating. I don't believe in balance either, but moving towards creating that balance as much as possible. I used to call it work-life balance doesn't exist. It's more like work-life grace,
Mm.
because we need to be able to give ourselves grace, because work, especially as entrepreneurs, will sometimes need more time then, and I'm a single mom, then, and I just let my kids know, hey, I'm working late tonight. This is what I got to do. I've got to do, I have an interview or something like that. I'll be in my office. This is the time it ends. And then I'll be out and we can do homework or whatever. And then there's other times where I just need to shut the kids take priority. And I got to give myself grace that I just didn't had to let some things go that day in my business, and I can move that to tomorrow. So I love that you similarly do the same and putting yourself first. I think a lot of parents or moms, especially, we feel like we can never put ourselves first. We have our kids, we brought them into this world, whatever they need, that comes first. And yes, they get to have the basic they get to be taken care of, right? Food, shelter, safety. But at the same time, we don't need to sacrifice our goals and our dreams because of our children. That is actually an hindrance of our children, I believe. Then it hurts them more than it helps them. Right?
I agree.
It's for them.
Yeah. And so what was really interesting was so the podcast that I have with my daughter, her Unshakable Confidence, we did an episode and I don't remember who the guest was, but the guest asked my daughter a question and said, so what's the most important thing you've learned about your mom? And she said that she's human. And she said, for a long time, I didn't realize that. I thought she's mom. So she does everything and like everything is about me and the other kids. And then all of a sudden I had a realization, oh, she's human. She has a life too. It's not only about us. And I thought that was like such a great answer because I think a lot of times that's how our kids see us as we're the mom and we do everything. And a lot of times we don't know how to step away from that role because that's what we think we should be doing all of the time.
Exactly. And I think sometimes it takes for kids to get to a certain age for them to see that. I think as teenagers, and hopefully this is shifting, but teenagers, they're in their bubble. They've got a lot going on. Their brains aren't fully formed yet. They've got everything is about them, right? So I think as moms too, we need to give ourselves grace, like especially if they come in moments. I have a daughter and a son, and one can be snappier than the other. I won't say who.
Yes.
If you have children, you kind of know which one. I just have to step back and go, you know what, this time will pass. They're sowing their oats, they're learning, they're finding their way. And one day they'll realize that I'm human too. But at the moment it's okay. But I love that she said that. I think that's fantastic. And I agree with you. It's the perfect answer. I have two questions before we wrap and I let you go. And I'm so grateful for this conversation. So thank you for being here. The first question is there what are some behind the scenes, like fun facts about Simone that we wouldn't know by reading your book, listening to you on your podcast, or seeing you on social media or your website? Besides Kilimanjaro, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'll give you I have a really fun party trick and I hope it's going to work with a microphone. I'm not exactly sure, but I can whistle without moving my mouth. So if you're listening on audio, you're not going to be able to see it anyways. Yes, that's my claim to fame, my party trick. So here we go. Let's see if I can do it with if the sound will come over. Could you hear it?
I can hear it. I can hear it a little bit. Yeah, that's so fun. That's so fun. So if you're listening to us on the podcast, let me just tell you, you need to go over to YouTube. So go to YouTube. So thank you for promoting the YouTube platform.
Yes, there we go. Go watch us on YouTube. Watch me pretend to whistle. Yeah.
That was awesome. That was so fun. I lied. Not two questions. I have three. You mentioned Kilimanjaro was a big piece of self-care for you. And it was a big transformational moment for you as well. What are some things, 6 kids? I mean, I know that you have one in the home right now, but still, you had 6 kids. There's a lot of people happening in your home. I can only imagine the holidays, and your family's only going to get bigger, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So what are the self-care practices? You don't have to name them all, but what are the most important things that you do for yourself for your self-care?
So I do positive affirmations every morning, multiple times a day, probably. Evening gratitudes. I am a big believer in I need some time to myself that's not work time. So whether it's meditation or, okay, it used to be a lot of working out. Now I had shoulder surgery a few months ago. So now it's kind of like a glass of wine sitting on the couch watching an episode of a show that I like. For me, self-care is whatever you make of it, like what works for you. And It's that taking the time for yourself when no one else is going to bother you. I mean, yes, with 6 kids, I never even got time to go to the bathroom alone. I mean, most moms can resonate with that, right? As soon as you go to the bathroom, everybody shows up. And so now it's so important for me as they get older that I make sure I have, and even when they were younger, I should have been doing more of this, really making sure, even if it was 10 minutes, taking some time for myself just to read a book, think, just get out of my own way.
Yeah. And if you have dogs, that's the
Oh
bathroom's
my
even
gosh. Yes. I have 3 dogs and
bathroom is
same
even fuller.
thing.
Yeah, I had
Yes.
3 dogs and they would always be right there. I'm like,
Yes.
seriously? And if they weren't, they didn't make it in, they're scratching at the door. So
Yep.
there's no peace. There's no
Yes.
peace.
There's no peace.
Yeah, so great answer. Yeah, I like that you said like working at people will say like exercise, meditation, but just sitting on the couch watching TV, watching a show that matters to you, even if it's for 30 minutes, is important. I don't watch a lot of TV, but there's days where I'm just like, I'll tell the kids, I just need 20 minutes. Mom's going to go lay down. I just need 20 minutes. And I go and
Hmm.
lay down. This would usually be after I pick them up because when they're in different schools for high school, but when they were middle school and high school, it was 2 different times we ended during the day. So it was a 2 hour window of pickup, 2 to 2.5 hours. And after all that driving, I just want to get home and be like, I just need 20 minutes just to decompress from the traffic and all of that. But even just sitting on the couch with a glass of wine or a coffee or whatever matters to you, or a glass of, and watching something just for even something, it's like mind numbing,
Mindless. Yes. Yes.
mindless is just sometimes key. And just like, okay, now I can go back. Right.
Hmm.
And nobody's ever said that one. And I think that that works for me a lot, especially lately in the holidays. I love my homework. So that's
Yeah.
my little Calgon take me away moments.
Yes.
Okay. Last question for you. How are we doing on time? We're okay. Last question for you. What if you could have lunch with anyone,
Mm.
alive or deceased, who would it be and why?
Oof. That's a really interesting question. I actually would say my grandmother, my mom's mom, because my mom went to college in 1957. She got into medical school in 1961, and there were 5 women in her medical school class out of 120 students. So, and she was told that she took up a man's spot and she should feel really bad about it. Like that's how tough it was back then. And I would be really curious to hear what my grandmother had to say about my mom going to school because she had a 6th grade education. Her husband worked my grandfather worked in the coal mines, and the idea of education was not really on their map. So I would love to sit down with her and have her tell me what she really thought, or if she really would have preferred if my mom would not have gone down that pathway. Hopefully, what she would say, absolutely, I supported her 100%. It would be interesting to hear.
That is a fantastic answer. And thank you for sharing that. What an interesting journey. And
Mm,
kudos to your mom. Like that's another bow down moment.
yeah, she's an amazing human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, Simone. So please let's now we're gonna share all the places people
Ah,
can find you. So how can people reach out to you, connect with you, and also learn more about R.E.A.L, the R.E.A.L method? Because you might have some people that are listening, they're like, I want to learn more and be in.
yeah, absolutely. So my website, SimoneKnego.com, which is SIMONEKNEGO. My new book, Real Confidence, you can find it at realconfidencebook.com. You can pre-order it now and get a bunch of bonuses. And you can find my first book, The Extraordinary UnOrdinary You, on Amazon, any online retailer. You can listen to our podcast, Her Unshakable Confidence. And I'm on social media, Simone Knego. I'm the only Simone Knego in the world. So if you search me, you will find me.
Awesome. That's awesome. So thank you for sharing all of that, Simone. You all just go to the website, go grab the book, go pre-order it. You get bonuses. Bonuses are always fun.
Yeah.
So go pre-order the book and reach out to Simone. She's pretty awesome, as you heard here. So make sure you connect with her. We'll also, if you're driving, don't worry, we got you. All of her links are in the show notes as well. So Simone, anything that you would like to say, like last words that you'd like to share that I didn't get to ask you or we didn't talk about today?
Yeah. I would say the last thing is you don't need to change who you are. You need to change the way you see yourself.
So good. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, please, if you know of somebody that would benefit, a woman who would benefit from hearing Simone today, please share this episode. That's how we're able to help more women be seen, be heard, and empower themselves to do so, and also share our guests with more of the world. If you're listening to us on YouTube or watching us on YouTube, thank you. Simone and I are glad you're here. Leave a note for her below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you get to hear more from Simone and also more from our amazing guests that are on the podcast. We're grateful for you listening and watching. Simone, thank you so much for your time today. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you all for listening to us, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Be She podcast. In the meantime, be empowered to be seen and heard.